All right, my friends, welcome. It's Ty Hicks, results coach and national influence and leadership trainer. So excited to be diving in on this webinar and training here today because we're talking about something very exciting, which is how do you actually get results in any area of life? And I do mean any area because my work with individuals as a results coach, having worked with tens of thousands of people across the entire country, I can tell you that there are certain things that work and there are certain things that just do not work. And there can be a proven system applied regardless of which area of your life it is that you're trying to improve, whether it's your relationships, your business, your ability to influence others in a more persuasive and ethical way, or simply if you want to improve your health, your vitality, your energy, right? Whichever area it is, your finances might be one that you want to focus on. No matter what it is, there's a real proven system and a set of steps that you need to apply that is going to enable you to close the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And we're going to talk a little bit about the science behind making that happen and how you can start to make progress right now, starting today, okay? As simple as in the next couple of hours, I'm going to show you how you can make this happen, and we're going to take some action today too, okay? So we're going to dive in on this. So let me ask you, have you ever had the experience of that there's a certain new outcome that you want in your life, but for some reason you feel stuck, you feel like you're not exactly sure on how the hell you're going to get there? Well, these steps are exactly how you're going to understand how to close that gap. So first of all, step number one is we've got to get you vividly, emphasis on the word vividly, clear on what you actually want. Because how in the hell could you ever be fulfilled? How the hell could you ever have what you want if you haven't even gotten clear on what it is that you want? Now, this might seem a little bit, commonsensical. You might be thinking, okay, Ty, yeah, know what I want. Okay, great, sure. How is that helpful to me? Well, here's why it's helpful to you. Because most people, probably yourself included, it may not be the case, especially if you've seen some of my other videos up until this point. Hopefully you've gotten a little bit more clear on what you want. But here's the thing, most people do not know what they actually want. They don't. They know plenty about what they don't want. They're able to list off a whole range of complaints that they have about things they're tired of, things they're sick of, things they don't want anymore in their life. That's not much of a problem for them. However, if you ask somebody, okay, well, what is it that you do want? They kind of have to scratch their head for a minute. They're not exactly sure because that's not an answer that they've mulled over as detailed of a way as they have of what they don't want, right? So the first thing that we've got to start doing is we've got to get you focused on what you do want and not what you don't want, because here's what happens. Where you put your energy, that's where you tend to manifest things, okay? So in other words, if you're focused on how much you hate your job, how much you don't like it, how much you're stuck, how much you're not sure, what your next step is, how much you hate your boss, that's what will become more real. More of that negative energy, more of that hatred, more of that feeling of stuckness is going to become larger and more real to you in your mind. Whereas, for instance, if you start to think about the dream job that you do want instead, if you got clear about that, then all of a sudden your brain is going to start feeding you answers and insights as to how you can get closer to achieving that. So what we want to do is we want to access every single resource that you have, both consciously and unconsciously. And the way that we make sure that your nervous system is fully turned on to being able to help find things that are going to get you closer to where you want to go is you've got to vividly imagine what you do want, and you've got to kind of daydream about it, right? You've got to make it sort of an active movie, a living picture in your head where you're the main character in it, right? So one of the exercises that I have my clients do is, write out their dream life and just write and write and write until your pen, until you feel like, yes, that is exactly what I want. That's the real essence of the life that I would love to have. Because once you've done that, you've now kind of charted a path in your brain that enables you to now say, okay, well, wait a minute, what would be the next steps to start to get there? So if we do not clearly understand what it is you want, and if you cannot distill that into a concise vision, then you're not going to have a measuring stick of whether or not you're getting closer to it or not. And you're just going to be spinning your wheels. You're just going to be in circles. So the metaphor I use here that I put on the screen is, imagine being out at sea and you don't have a clear destination. Well, if you turn the engine on of the boat and you start going, but you don't have a clear destination, where are you going to end up? I mean, it's really going to be subject to chance or circumstance mostly, right? If you don't have a clear destination of where you're going to end up going in circles, end up marooned on an island, end up running out of supplies. None of those situations are going to be good. Versus you having a clear lighthouse, way off on the horizon, and maybe a far ways away, and you may not really know exactly all the steps you're going to take to get there. But the important thing is that you've got a clear, dedicated vision here that's identified and that's, clearly marked on the horizon. So that means that you're able to make small little adjustments all the way along to make sure that you're actually getting closer to making that happen. So getting clear is the very first step. So make sure that you've gotten that done. If it's in your job, write out the vision of your dream job. If it's your relationship, figure out what your dream relationship looks like. If it's just your life in general and you want to make a plan for each one of these discrete areas, do that. If it's your finances, figure out very clearly what you want. Most people have a tendency to say, well, I want to make more money. Okay, well, if I gave you a $10 bill, would you now be satisfied? Probably not. So you need to get clear on how much money is it that you actually want to make. How much is it that you want to make in a given year? How much do you feel that you're worth, etc., right? Because now, once you've got something clear and direct and measurable, now we can work with something. There is a plan that we can put in place to help you reach whatever it is that you want. But if you just have this ambiguous, innocuous kind of pie in the sky idea of, yeah, well, I just want it to be better, that isn't helpful. Right? We've got to get clear on what it is that would really make you feel fulfilled. And even if you don't know how in the world you're going to achieve it, that's fine. That's what these remaining steps are for. So make sure you've got that vividly marked down. Please pause this and take action with this right now, because each one of these steps builds on itself. And if you tell yourself you're going to do this later down the line, you just won't. You will not. I'm telling you. So pause it, take action right now. Okay. Now, step number 2. Once you've identified clearly where it is that you want to go, the next step that you need to integrate into your system is you need to find a coach. Okay, now I'm telling you that this is what separates the world's highest performers from the world's amateurs. Because amateurs tend to think that they've got everything figured out, whereas high paid and high performing individuals who are always trying to push the boundaries understand that they need somebody who's going to offer them a different perspective, who's going to push them and challenge them and hold them accountable, hold their feet to the fire, make sure they do the things that they actually said they were going to do. A coach plays such an invaluable role in so many important ways that it's a true game changer. Now you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, but I don't need a coach. I've got things figured out. I'm telling you, that is the amateurish way to look at things, okay? Because if you want to be thinking like the world's highest performers, if you want to be thinking like the world's top paid CEOs, then you need to get somebody in your corner who is going to offer you a different perspective, who is going to help give you the strategies you need to take action, and who is going to be able to help you clarify exactly what it is that you mean to be spending your time on, okay? And those are just a couple of the very, very important things that a coach provides for you. This quote from Eric Schmidt, I think, sums it up. If there's any person in the world that we would assume wouldn't need a coach, it would probably be the CEO of Google, right? But he even says himself, everyone needs a coach. We're not good at assessing ourselves, and we need someone who can give us perspective, okay? And that's the very, very important thing that a coach provides to you. So if you really want to take this to the next level, you need somebody who's going to make that happen. If you want to improve your health, you don't want to reinvent the wheel, you don't want to just go try to improve your health and try things willy-nilly, right, and throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and hope something sticks and gets you the results you want. Instead, you want to find somebody who knows what you do not know. You need to find somebody who's already understood what it takes to actually be healthy in the ways that you want, right? If you want to improve your finances, you need to find somebody who's already got a system for improving finances in a way that's providing results. That's what you need to figure out. If you want to become more energetic, more passionate, if you want to improve your relationships, right, you need to find somebody who has distilled the process and the insights to make that happen. It's the fastest way for you to compress time, to get results in a faster way, and to avoid stress and burnout. So it's a highly, highly valuable strategy. You need to find a coach. All right, step number 3. Now, the big question we need to be asking you, and a coach can help you clarify this because sometimes it's a little bit more challenging to arrive at these answers if you're just doing the reflection yourself. But what you really want to ask yourself here is, okay, I know what I want. I know where I am now. What stops me from getting where I am right now? And that seems like such a sophomoric question. That seems like such a simplistic thing to ask, okay? But here's the thing. It's very easy for your focus, for your mental, consciousness to be fixated day to day on all these little distractions, on all these little problems, and then it's very easy to construct a narrative that you are not the master of your circumstances. And it's very easy to put the blame externally onto the world and say, well, it's really because of my girlfriend or my boss or whomever that I'm not where I really want to be. And so what we need to do by asking this question of what really stops you is I want you to just stop and really meditate on that question for a minute. Just really think about it. Okay, you know where you want to go. You know where you are now. What stops you? Okay, and now what should happen is when you really stop and think about that, your brain is probably going to start producing for you a lot of unique insights and answers. And what I think that each one of those insights and answers is going to be telling you in one form or another is that it's really not the external circumstances that stops you. It's really your level of resourcefulness and your commitment to taking action with the resources that you have available right now. Because what you need to get into a mindset of appreciating is that the obstacle becomes the way, as Ryan Holiday would say. Meaning, it doesn't really matter what your current circumstances are. What matters is how you respond to those circumstances, how you actually use those circumstances to your benefit, and how you start to deliberately apply consistent action now that's going to change your circumstances towards what you actually want to manifest. If you want to improve your life, you have to stop wishing for it to be better. You have to stop, belly aching that things aren't exactly how you'd like them to be and that other people are not treating you fairly. That's not going to be a set of circumstances in which you can become the master, in which you can actually be joyful about your life. It's just not. But a situation that you could be joyful over is one in which you say, look, I'm never going to be able to control what happens to me in my life. I'm never going to be able to control everything that happens to me, but I'm always going to be in control of what it means. And I'm also always going to be in control of how I respond, okay? That all of a sudden now puts all of the real responsibility and all of the real power to actually change things into your court. And that's what you need to fundamentally understand. Now, you might be listening to this and you might be thinking, okay, Ty, yeah, nice and easy for you to say you have no idea what I'm going through. Okay, that might be fair. I may not know specifically what you're going through, but let me tell you, some of the clients that I've dealt with have been this close to taking their own life from suicide. I've also worked with individuals who've had massive drinking problems, who've had problems with the law, who've had marriages that are completely falling apart, who've had careers that have completely gone off the rails. And I'm telling you that there is a path to get where you want to go, no matter how bad things currently appear to you right now. But you will never, ever, ever get to where you actually want to go unless you accept your own personal responsibility and personal power for making it happen. Now, there's strategies that can be used to accelerate your progress, and that's what we're here talking about today. But if you don't wrap your head around the fact that if there's any individual who's going to bring about a better life for you, it has to be you. That's the thing that I need you to understand fully before we continue. Because none of the rest of what I'm going to share with you is going to do you a damn bit of good unless you accept right here and right now and resolve to take personal responsibility for changing your life circumstances, because no one else is going to do it for you. So when you ask yourself what stops you, you should start to get some very clear answers as to what you're currently doing that is impeding your progress, or what you're not doing that you should be doing, right? So really stop and think and meditate on this question. What stops you? And what would happen if you did create the progress that you want to create? What would happen if you did? And all of a sudden your brain should start to chart for you a new course of action, a new set of potential action items that you could take that could start this wheel self-rolling in the right direction. That's the important thing here, is we want to start getting you critically asking that question so we can start to hypothesize what our next set of action steps is going to be. All right, so here's what I want you to do. Hopefully you've got pen and paper. Now what I want you to do, and you've got to take action on this as we go forward through this exercise, okay? First of all, write clearly at the top of the page, what is it that you actually want? Okay, so what is the specific thing that you want? Hopefully you've gotten vividly clear about what that is going to be now. Okay, great. So you've got that at the top of your page. Now what I want you to answer is, why do you want that thing? And you're going to answer that right below the top line of what you want. Okay, why do you want that thing? Write that right there. Okay, now you're going to get a particular answer right there on that second line of text. So now the question is, why do you want what you said you wrote on that second line of text? Okay? So in essence, you're digging another layer deep, because what we're trying to determine is, even though you tell yourself that at the surface this is the thing you want, in fact there's actually a very deep down reason that that is the thing that you really want. So we need to dig 7 layers deep. So what you're going to do is say, why do you want that thing? That's the first layer. Okay, now that you've explained why you want it, why is it that you want that thing that you just explained you want? Okay, so if it's losing 40 pounds, the second thing might be so that I look good for my husband. Okay, well, why do you want to look good for your husband? Dig a layer deep. Okay, now you're on the second layer. Now you're going to do that for a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh layer. Okay, and you're going to follow that exercise all the way down to number 7. Now, if you're doing this correctly, you should be pretty much in tears by level 7, because you should now be fully aware of why it is that you do what you do, why it is so important for you to actually put forward the effort that you need to put forward, and why losing 40 pounds is actually not what you really want at all. It's actually this thing way down here that you really want, and losing 40 pounds will be symbolic, or it will be a step in the right direction of you achieving that baseline thing. But the point is, no one gets excited about losing 40 pounds. No one wants to go lose 40 pounds. But if down here at the bottom, you finally got to an answer that said something like, God has provided me with a gift to live my life as full as I possibly can, and I deserve to take full advantage of that and honor my health and my body so that I can serve other people. I mean, I don't know what yours is going to be, okay? It's going to be completely individual to you, but the whole point is you're going to get to something very deep and compelling that is going to help you go the distance. It's going to give you the emotional stamina that you need. Do not brush over this exercise. Even if this seems like woo-woo stuff, you're thinking like, okay, yeah, talking about why I want to do things. Ty, give me the strategies. I just want to freaking get to work. That might be what you're thinking. But I'm telling you, understanding exactly what the deepest consequences are going to be of you pursuing this top level goal, that's going to give you the emotional reservoir, the emotional resourcefulness to keep at it even when things are not going exactly how you might expect them to be. Now, you're going to have to condition yourself on that. I mean, you're going to have to remain attuned and present to exactly how consequential pursuing this goal is going to be. That's something you're going to have to remind yourself of on a daily basis. But the first step in the first place is just getting clear on what the consequences will be. So do not skip over this exercise. Make sure that you execute it in full, and do it right now if you have not done so, because the remainder of these steps all are predicated on the fact that you've already followed through on these remaining steps. All right, moving on. Now that you've gotten clear on what you want, we've got a coach in your corner, you've gotten some clarity on some of the things that are stopping you, and we've also now figured out why it is that you've got to pursue this at such a high level. Now the next step is going to be to actually start mapping out your plans. So what you want to do is map out a clear objective and timeline. First of all, you want to give yourself a deadline. If your goal is to lose those 40 pounds, what is the drop dead date of when it has to get done? Okay, that's number 1, and you're going to see why it's so important for you to have that deadline here in a moment. Now, once you've done that, okay, it's time to set up a plan. Now, what I like to say is we've got to stop being reactionary to life and instead be intentional as we're kind of navigating through things, right? So you've charted that course. You've got that, beacon on the horizon. You're the captain of the ship, so you know what it is, where it is that you want to go. Now it's time to actually turn on the engine and start going, and you need to have some sort of navigational map, some sort of, plan as to how you're going to make that happen. Now, the big word of warning here for you is to not fall prey to paralysis analysis. I see this happen with my clients all the time, and it's one of the biggest problems that people have when they're trying to make changes in their life. They tend to think, well, I'm not going to take action until I have the perfect plan, because that's going to, save me the most time, and I need to make sure it's just right. That's exactly the opposite of what I would have you do and what I would recommend you do. In fact, I would rather you just start taking blind action and have absolutely no plan whatsoever, but then just kind of learn as you take your hits as you go. That's what I would kind of wish for you instead, because I know how tempting it is for the human brain to rationalize laziness and to call it preparation. Okay, and you need to not fall prey to that. It's very, very important. So first of all, what you want to do is, you've got your deadline. Now just set up a preliminary plan. You should not spend more than about 20, 30 minutes max on this. So you want to lose 40 pounds. How are you going to do that? How many pounds per week is that? Okay. How many calories do you need to burn on a regular basis? Do you need to adjust your diet? How many times do you need to go to the gym? Which gym are you going to go to? What time of day are you going to make it happen, right? Get a clear plan. Don't just say, yeah, I'd love to lose 40 pounds and not back that up with an intentional plan. That's going to be the important piece here. So whatever it is for you, just get some general guidance. Now, once you dive in, once you start taking action, your plan will adjust, and you need to be comfortable with that, and you need to be, understanding that there's going to need to be a level of flexibility that you're going to apply to this entire process. But the whole point is to get just enough clarity to get you going, and for you to be able to say, yeah, I feel pretty good about that plan. I think that would get me to where I need to go. That's the important piece. Now, this next step is an important one, and one you cannot default on. It's critical, okay? Now, you're gonna be tempted to say, yeah, okay, Ty, that sounds cool, but I'm just not gonna do that. You're gonna be very tempted to wimp out on this, but I'm telling you, if you wanna move out of the realm of just talking about changing your life and move into the realm of actually changing your life, I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom here, okay? I'm telling you what has been proven to work and what will create results for you. So here's what you need to do. You need to make a commitment to somebody who is not going to allow you to back down, somebody who is not going to allow you to slip back into your old habits. And you need to do this in as public of a way as you possibly can. Thankfully, we now live in the 21st century where you can share an update with, pretty much everybody important to you in your world at once. And so I actually recommend that you go to the people that you have on Facebook or Twitter or whatever the case is, and tell them, hey, I'm going to lose 40 pounds by this date. Please offer your words of encouragement, and please make sure that you help hold me accountable to this goal, okay? That would be a fantastic thing for you to do, because first of all, you're going to get immediate praise and recognition from people who are going to cheer you on, you're going to inspire other people to take action, and you're going to get this decision reinforced positively in such a massive, massive way. So that's going to be the very first thing that's going to be important. But now, more importantly, this isn't now just a private little preference that you've stated to yourself that you want to achieve. It's now a public declaration that you have to back up. And there is a huge psychological power that comes with making a public declaration like that. It makes it virtually impossible for you to, renege on that, promise that you've made to the people who are following you, and for you to not be able to execute those plans. So I highly recommend that you do this, and today is the perfect time for you to do this. You've gotten clear on it, you've gotten your coach, you've hypothesized what's stopping you, you've gotten compelled about it, you've set up your plan and your timeline. Time to make a public declaration that you're going to make this happen, okay? And what's great about this is people will now ask you, after a couple weeks or whatever, people will say, hey, how you doing on the weight loss thing? How's that going? And you're going to know that those questions are coming. You're going to know that people are going to be following up with you about how things are going. So you're going to feel that pressure to make it a must to actually get to the damn gym. But this is a fantastic thing, and what's awesome about this is you can share your journey with others as you go through it. So you're constantly getting praise, you're constantly getting that public recognition, and you're also being held accountable at the same time. It's a fantastic mechanism, and it works. Please do it. All right, next. Once you've gotten your plan laid out, you've made your declaration, it's time to get clear at kind of a microscopic level what action you're going to be taking on a daily basis that's going to be propelling you forward towards the goal that you've set. Now, I think Aristotle said it best when he said, excellence is not enacted as a habit because we are what we repeatedly do. So in that essence, just going to the gym once is not going to cause you to lose 40 pounds, but going to the gym for 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week for 4 months might actually do it. So The question here is going to be, what are the daily rituals that you need to have that are going to actually get you where you need to go? You need to align everything. This is what we call designing an extraordinary life. So you have to stop just wishing things would be better, praying and crossing your fingers that things are going to get better someday. You've got to take personal responsibility, take inventory of the gifts and resources you have at your disposal, and make an intentional use out of each and every one of them. And this is how we make that happen. So what is going to be your daily routine? Don't just tell yourself, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. Okay, which 5 days? What time of the day are you going to go? For how long are you going to go? What gym are you going to go to? What's going to be the routine once you get there, right? And again, you have to strike the balance between paralysis analysis and just taking action. But the point is, if you just have an ambiguous plan in your head of, I need to go to the gym more often, you're done for. It's not going to happen. You've got to make the public commitment. And frankly, you should honestly publicly commit to what exactly your plan is going to be. I'm going to lose 40 pounds by going to the gym 5 days a week. That would be fantastic, because now people are going to call you out on your crap if you try to, skip out on going to the gym. So get your plan in place, but you've got to zero this in and dial this in on a daily level. That's what I really want you to understand here, is you cannot just say, okay, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. You've really got to plan in. Great. Is it going to be on your lunch hour, after work, before work? When is it happening? Okay, and exactly how are you going to make sure that it does happen? What is going to be the sacred time block that you set aside that's dedicated to pursuing this goal? That's going to be the important thing. Okay, so design your daily rituals. All right, now guess what? It's time to take consistent, deliberate action. You've gotten your plans, you've got your clarity, you've made your commitment. Now guess what? Time to take freaking action. Okay, so just get to it. Take action massively. That's going to be the cure-all for everything that you need to do. If you're unclear of what specific plan is going to be needed to get you where you need to go, don't worry about it. You need to just understand what the very next step is, right? Don't get so paralyzed from climbing the mountain because you're so zeroed in at looking at the top. Instead, you need to look at, what is the baby step I need to take right now that gets me closer to where I need to go? And then take the step, and then immediately an insight is going to come to you of what the next step should be. That's how momentum starts snowballing, okay? It's a very powerful process, but it only happens when you actually apply the action, once you actually decide. And by the way, a decision is not a decision until you actually act on it. You might say to yourself, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. In 6 months, I'm going to lose 40 pounds. That's my decision. Okay, well, you haven't really decided until you're actually doing it. Okay, you might be able to state a preference. You might think that's a decision, but that's not really a decision. The decision is you taking the action to make it happen. That's when the decision becomes cemented. So take consistent, deliberate action. Now, once you're doing this, you want to assess, improve, and repeat. All right, now if you're going to the gym 30 days a week and you only lose, let's say 2 pounds in 2 weeks, whereas you thought you were going to lose 5 pounds, okay, maybe it's time to adjust the process a little bit. Maybe you just need to increase your time to 45 minutes a session. Maybe you need to talk to a trainer to adjust your routine a little bit. Maybe you actually need to be working out less. Maybe it's not a problem with the working out. Maybe it's a problem with the diet, okay? And that's something that needs to be addressed. So assess, improve, and repeat. You've got to get a sense of what results you're getting so that you can consistently adjust on a regular basis. Again, do not fall into paralysis analysis. Don't go to the gym for 1 week and then take inventory and get lost in looking at all your measurements and worry about how you could perfect the process and make it that much better. Do not do that. Prioritize action above assessment every time, every day of the week. But you've got to also be intelligent about how you're spending your time. So strike that balance, but do not let it paralyze you from taking action. I would rather you go to the gym and spend 30 minutes doing a workout that you know is not as efficient as it could be, just so that you maintain the habit of actually taking the action. Because then if you adjust the workout, you'll at least still have built up that willpower muscle of taking the action, and you don't want to have that muscle atrophy, okay? All right, number 10, we're on the final one, and this one is very, very significant. What you need to do if you want to sustain results over the long haul is you've got to adjust your environment to support you. Now, when I say environment and adjusting it to support you, I actually mean 2 types of environment. First of all, your physical, like literal environment, And then second of all, your social environment. So let's take social environment first. The people that you spend the most time with are affecting your standards, whether you know it or not. If you're hanging out with unhealthy people, you're gonna, fall into unhealthy habits. If you're hanging out with people that don't know how to manage their money and don't have a high level of income, your level of income is not going to be very high. In fact, there's an old adage that says that your income level is typically the average of the 5 people's income that you spend the most time with. So take a quick, thought experiment and think about that, and you might find it to be pretty true. So the question is, how are you going to intentionally design your peer group so that you're not the one with the highest standard in the room, but instead that you're a part of a peer group that elevates your standard, that helps you reach your goals that much quicker, that much faster. Maybe you need to join a mastermind. Maybe you want to be a part of a health club. What is it that you need to do? Put yourself in environments where people have a higher standard than you and where you're not the smartest person in the room, where they know something that you don't that's going to help you get the results that you need to get. Okay, be wary of the people you surround yourself with. Okay, it's just a reality. Your standards will be affected by them. I'm not saying that you need to sever lifelong friendships, but I am telling you, you need to intentionally design who's influencing your standards. Okay, now second of all, let's take your physical environment. If you're trying to go to the gym 5 days a week, you might need to stop taking the route to work that drives past the Krispy Kreme, and you might need to instead take a different route to work that takes you past the gym, for example. Or if you are trying to limit your diet and make sure that you don't make bad choices, maybe you now need to go out every Sunday, get healthy, meal prep ingredients and do your meal prep for the entire week so that you're not tempted to go just eat out multiple times a week. Okay, that might be a good thing for you to do. What is the adjustment in your physical environment that you're going to need to make that's going to support you? That's going to be the important question for you to ask, because believe it or not, your environment is affecting you. It is affecting your choices in very significant ways. And you don't want to be tempted when you could very easily just remove the temptation and make pursuing your goals that much easier, that much more fun, and that much easier in terms of building lasting momentum. So make sure your environment is supporting you and not hindering you or holding you back. Now, one last reminder here as we close up. Achievement's fantastic. There's always going to be that next challenge. There's always going to be that next thing for you to sink your teeth into and achieve, and that's fantastic. But a word of warning and advice, make sure that you're pursuing things that actually bring you fulfillment, okay? There's all the difference in the world between being super busy and being productive in the sense of building towards things that actually matter to you and are meaningful to others. So make sure that the things that you're spending your time on changing are going to bring you real fulfillment. And then you're not just pursuing things that are superficial or are just going to give you material gains or whatever the case is. You need to really get connected with that. And hopefully that exercise of the 7 layers deep of why really got you connected with why it is that you care about pursuing this thing that you need to pursue. But understand that this personal transformation journey is exactly that. It's a journey. It's not a destination. There's always going to be another level to climb to. So it's better for you to get into a mindset of appreciating the journey for the journey's sake, appreciating the game of challenging yourself and always becoming better. That's going to be where you're going to find real fulfillment over the long haul. And if you achieve everything that you thought that you wanted but end up unfulfilled at the end, that's essentially life's greatest failure. So make sure you're pursuing fulfillment and not just achievement alone. So I hope this was valuable to you. My next video I want you to keep an eye out for, because what I'm going to be showing you how to do is how to turn around any destructive habit in just 7 simple steps, and how to install a resourceful habit that will actually help you improve your life. So I hope that was valuable to you. 10 simple steps to get results in any area. Now, what's going to be the thing that messes this up? You just won't do it, okay? So take these steps, but actually take action. Your life is not going to get better just listening to videos like this, pretending that you're improving your life by just playing student all the time. You need to get out into the world and take some damn action. So I hope you appreciate my saying that to you. As your coach, I'm trying to have a level of accountability to you and give you the kick in the ass that you need. And right now I'm telling you, if you have not taken action on these exercises, number 1, you're in big trouble. Number 2, you have virtually no guarantee at all that you're ever going to learn how to take action. You've got to develop that muscle. So follow the steps that we've gone through here. Go through it again if you need to, but make sure above all else you actually start the process today of creating momentum. So thanks for tuning in. So excited to talk to you in the next one. Thank you so much. Be passionate today. Go out there and chase those dreams that you've been putting on the side for so long. Take care.